I see people everywhere say that life gets easier, discipline gets easier, doing what you need to do gets easier. And as someone who's put on 30 pounds of muscle in the past year, who's played the guitar every single day for the past 4 months, who's been tapped into his church as much as possible, gone to every event, connected with as many people as possible, who's been grinding at work, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. You just get deeper in. And once you're deep enough, quitting isn't relief anymore. It's betrayal. At the beginning, quitting costs nothing. Later, it costs everything that you've built. People will tell you it becomes a habit, it becomes automatic, and you start to enjoy it. And no, it never does. You just start to suffer better. One quote that has always resonated with me is Muhammad Ali said that he hated every minute of training, but he said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. He never said that it got easier. He said that he hated it, but he stayed. So, for example, with working out, I kind of bought into this idea that it would get easier for me. I thought at some point I'd start to enjoy it, but no. Every single day, when I wake up and I think about going and doing a workout, it sounds like the worst thing in the world to me. On week one, you're sore, you're tired, and you want to quit. But if you think about it as, let's say you just even started yesterday, you have one day in the gym. If you quit on day two, you wasted your time on day one. Why did you even start? There was no point. All that effort that you put in to getting your butt out of bed and going to the gym was completely wasted. And it just gets further and further. Month three, you're 60 workouts deep. You've sacrificed sleep. You've sacrificed comfort. You've sacrificed all the things that you like to do. You showed up when you didn't feel like it. And now if you quit, you burned every early alarm that you woke up to, every single rep that you've done, every promise that you've made to yourself. All that pain meant nothing. And that eventually gets heavier than the workout ever was. It's not that you wanted to do it. It's not that it was easy to get out of bed. 90 days in, on day 91, it doesn't make it, I get to go work out now. This sounds amazing. But it makes it so expensive to quit. I've been working out religiously for over a year now. If I were to quit and lose that 30 pounds, all those protein shakes that I shoved down my throat, all the times I ate when I didn't want to, all the times that I brought my butt down to my basement where I got my little home gym set up and just did something. When I've been sick, I've worked out. When I've been on no sleep, I've worked out. When I've had no time, I've worked out. Same thing with guitar. This is something I've really struggled with. The first 100 hours that you play it, you sound terrible. Your fingers hurt. You feel stupid for doing it. You don't want anyone to hear you. When I was living at my parents' house, I'd be huddled in the basement, barely hitting the strings because I didn't want anyone to hear me from upstairs. And then eventually, you can play full songs. You feel rhythm. You feel growth. Now quitting doesn't mean I'll come back and do it later. It means you wasted the grind. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. You aren't just practicing chords. You aren't just lifting heavy things. You're building your identity. And when you quit now, you sacrifice it. You sacrifice that new identity that you had started making for yourself. So no, it doesn't get easier. It'll never get easier. And that might be demotivating to some people, and it's kind of demotivating to me myself. I wish that I could wake up and want to go and hit the gym. I wish that I would wake up and want to sit there and practice the same songs I've been practicing for months because I still haven't mastered one song yet. But it's so expensive to think about all the time I then wasted, all the effort I put in, all the times that I called myself a little bitch for not wanting to go and do it. to get it done. So I kind of mentioned it there, but if you're going to go through with this, your identity needs to change. I think that's where most people fail. They try to build discipline. They try to become something else without building a new self-image. I saw myself as the guy who quits, as the guy who starts strong when he has an idea and he's really motivated, but then fades over time. I'm the person who tries but never actually does. And that has to die. It had to die in me. You need a vision. It can't be a Pinterest cute vision board, a one day type of thing. It has to be a violent image. It has to be a clear and detailed picture of who you're becoming, how you move, how you speak, what you tolerate, and what you don't. And that vision has to be fueled by anger, but not self-hate. And there's a big differentiation between those two. Because if you hate yourself, you won't care enough about yourself to make a change. If you genuinely hate yourself, if you hate not what's on the outside, not what your choices are, but who you are on the inside, then you're not going to want to help yourself. It has to be anger at all the bad choices you've made. It has to be anger at all the things that you haven't done. It can be anger that is directed at yourself, but you can't hate yourself. You should have some things in your life where you look at and you say, and you have some kind of pride. I had pride about who I was before that really bad time in my life. And so I could kind of lean on that. I could say, man, I really was someone who did stuff back then. I was able to accomplish all kinds of things. That person has to still be inside me somewhere. And that anger is fuel. If you're completely satisfied with who you are right now, you won't change. If you're sick of your patterns, though, then good, use it. James Clear wrote that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Every single workout is a vote towards who you're going to be in a year, in 10 years. Every single practice session on a guitar is a vote. I'm voting for myself that I'm going to become the type of person that I'm proud of in the future. I'm going to be built. I'm going to be solid in my faith. I'm going to be able to play the guitar. I'm going to be hardworking. I'm going to be someone that my parents are proud of. But none of this happens without day one. Let me be clear. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a vision, if you don't know who you're becoming or who you want to become, you have no hope. You'll drift, you'll try, but you'll quit the second it gets hard. And this was me for so long. I was all talk and no bite. When I've tried multiple times before to start playing the guitar, I'd fiddle around for a week or two and then I'd lose my motivation. I've tried to be jacked so many different times, but I never truly committed myself to it in terms of the eating that I would have to do, in terms of never missing a day. I'd work when I wanted to and I'd stop when I wouldn't. And that's because I didn't have a true vision of who I wanted to become. I just kind of I was like, yeah, it would be better to be built than not to be built. But I didn't see myself as I do today, where I say, hey, in a year, I want to be 190 pounds. I want to look like a man when I walk in the room. I'm sick of looking like I still have a teenager's body. So before you ever lift a weight, in my case, before you ever pick up the guitar, whatever it is for you, before you say, oh, day one on this, day one on that, and start doing random things, you should sit down and ask yourself, who do I actually want to become internally? Forget outside noise. Forget your parents. Forget your friends. If those people, hopefully you have parents that are going to support you no matter who you want to become. And if friends aren't going to stick with you after you're working towards becoming who you want to become, then they're not real friends. Then you need to find better friends. And finding better friends is only going to make your life better. It's only going to support you in becoming who you want to be. It's only going to benefit you in life. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? Myself. Don't think about what car you want. Don't think about money. Don't think about followers. Don't think about fame. Don't think about popularity. Only ask yourself, who do I want to be? Picture yourself in, I would say a year, but I don't even think that's enough because it really isn't. I told myself last year, I set myself the lofty goal of, I was 145 pounds to start the year last year. And I said, I'm going to be 200 by the end of the year. And it wasn't that I wasn't fully dedicated that I didn't get there. Right now I'm sitting at about 173. But I worked 2 jobs. I was working 60 plus hours a week for 4 or 5 months during that year, from April until September. So certain things get in the way, but that's the type of thing where I have pride about it because I was still sitting there working out as much as I could. It was just that I wasn't getting enough food because I was working 12 hours a day. Didn't have a break on my second job. A lot of times in order to get my first job done, I would have to skip meals. So therefore, I didn't get there. Then finally, you have to ask yourself, who are you when nobody is watching? Because that's everything. And who do you want to be when nobody's watching? Because you can't be doing this for anyone else. You can't give a shit what Billy thinks over there. You can't give a shit what Rachel thinks. You might have a crush on Rachel, but you still can't give a shit. Because otherwise, when they're not looking at you, let's say you're working out for Rachel, right? You have a giant crush on Rachel. You think that girl is just the most gorgeous thing ever. And you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to work out for her. I'm going to work out because when she notices that I got big old biceps, when my triceps are popping out of my shirt, when my lats are looking absolutely obnoxious, when I got that 6-pack of abs, well, then when she doesn't look at you, even after you've been working out for 3 months, your motivation's out the window. You can't do anything for anyone else's approval. Because I promise you, there's going to be someone out there who recognizes your value when you sit there on your own, nobody is watching, and you put the work in. It might not be Rachel. It might be, you might meet a girl in 6 months, right? You might meet a girl in 6 months who's going to look at you after you've been putting in the work with no one watching, with no applause, and she might say, holy cow, that guy works. That guy's disciplined. That guy's ambitious. And all of a sudden, someone that you had no idea even existed 6 months ago, you earned her through what you did on your own. That's happened to me. I would never have my current girlfriend if I didn't put in that work for a year and 3 months. And you want to know why I did it? It was because I was trying to glorify God. So I'm telling you, if you can't motivate yourself, if you feel completely worthless, go to church, man. Try it. I'm a Christian, so I think you should go to church. But try religion. Because if you always have that in the back of your mind, that you're trying to glorify God, if you can have in your mind that your biggest fear is that you go up to heaven, you meet God after death, and he tells you, this is who you were supposed to be, and you realize you came nowhere near it. If you can constantly be trying to be the man, to be the woman, to be the person that God wanted you to be, there's a reason you're on this earth, man. It's not random, I promise you. There's a reason you're on this earth. And you got to be working your ass off to try and get there. And God might have blessings for you. He might have people, he might have a girlfriend, he might have your future wife, and he's dependent on you to get up off your ass and work right now. Work right now even though you don't know her. Work right now even though there's no reward guaranteed. Work right now because you got to change who you are, man. You got to change everything about the way you think. Sitting there being sorry for yourself, it's doing nothing for you. It's doing nothing. So when nobody is watching, that's when you have to be the biggest monster. That's when you have to put the work in, where when you go in public, they'll notice it eventually. I promise. They'll notice the type of person you are eventually. They'll see you and they'll say, that guy's kind of a monster. So build that image in detail. See it, feel it, define it. And once you have it clearly, you have to take the first step. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when you feel ready. Day one is sacred. Because without day one, there's no sunk cost, there's no momentum, there's no identity shift, there's no future version of you. It's just talk. So if you're in that painful phase right now, good. That is the entry fee. That is the entry fee to becoming the person that you're meant to be, the person that you want to be, and you just need to get after it. Build the version of yourself that quitting would insult. It would be an insult to me right now if I were to quit. If I were to quit, if I were to stop working, if I were to quit working out, if I were to stop playing the guitar, if I were to stop having all the connections that I've built, it would be an insult to me and all the work that the past me has put in. And so it's a snowball. It's just going to keep getting more and more expensive. I could quit. I could seclude myself. I could start doing all the things I used to do. I could sit there in my room, play video games 12 hours a day, smoke a stupid amount of weed, and trust me, I would get so much dopamine out of that. I would absolutely fry my dopamine receptors. I would love it. But it would insult my past self to such a degree that I can't physically do it at this point. So one day, you won't keep going because you feel motivated. You'll keep going because you've built too much to lose. Once you have something to lose, it gets way easier. No, that's not the right phrasing. It gets way harder to quit. Doesn't get easier to do it, it gets harder to quit. And quitting, that means that you were never serious. You never had a vision about who you were. You never wanted it. So it's on you, man. Go out and do something. Go out and change your life. Go be who God wants you to be. Have a great rest of your day.